Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel again. Today I'm going to show you one of the use case utilizing crewai to complete a task. So before I go to the coding part, I'm going to share with you some of the preparation or the tools that I would like to share with you. First of all, I suggest you to have, if you have the OpenAI, ChatGPT, crewai assistant. Okay, it is quite useful because it is built, I think, by crewai, and you can cite different documentation, ask a question about detail of the design of your program directly here. Okay, it's quite useful. Then is official documentation. Actually, for this part, I use a repo from one of the creator in GitHub. I'm going to introduce to you later. But for the most official part, of course, everything should be already here in the crewai. Um, Previously, I find it very difficult to understand the documentation because I always try to quick start with ChatGPT, put every documentation and so on, and create a zero-shot program for me to run. But after this time, I find that maybe my previous attempt to try the crewai was not so carefully examined, carefully organized, because there are many details that you need to understand before you go to the coding part. Otherwise, it will not work well. And I also checked some of the YouTubers. They showed you how to use crewai, right? Sometimes they use the command line or the other interface, not in the Colab, not in the notebook. I found it very difficult to start. Okay, but this time I find a very good starting point. I'm going to share with you. But whenever you feel confused or you need to modify some of the components, it's better to read the documentation, right? And here is the documentation about the hierarchical process. I think the hierarchical process is what I'm going to use, and also used by the code that I cited. Okay, I actually cited the code created by one of the creator, and he had two versions. One is sequential process, the other is hierarchical. For the hierarchical, it is basically like the corporate structure, right? I choose this version to as the first trial to test crewai. So just a quick summarization. How I quick start. First of all, I find a sample code in GitHub. Then I utilize ChatGPT crewai. Then I query the official documentation for any of my doubts and queries. Okay, so now let's take a look at the coding part. So I'm going to start with the first version, is the failed version. Okay, so before I go to the code, I'm going to share with you this part is about the license. So this time I actually take it very seriously. To first of all to copy the first original creator Alex Fazio, his license here, and also mention what I actually changed in my file. And the last part is my own MIT license. Okay, I think it's a good practice to just to show who is the original creator. So basically, original creator just made the cookbook. You can, of course, go to his website to check. The cookbook is quite high level and it offers you all the options, right? But now I'm going to focus on groq option. Okay, backend of the large language model of groq, and I'm going to modify a lot of things. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the coding part. Okay, this part is about first of all is about some warning settings. I think is not mandatory. Okay, I'm just going to pass it. Installing the dependencies. Okay, so from here, I like the package called Pillow. It was not previously thought or included in the original dependencies, but whenever I run the below code, whenever I think some of the dependencies is necessary, I'm going to add it here. So it is not mandatory for you to run it. Okay, only when you have the debugging process and you see something is missing, you just go back to here and add your packages. This is just my way to do it. of course, if you want a more clean version, you should integrate all the dependencies in just one code block. Then I get the API key. Okay, so the API key is previously already stored in Colab secret, so I can cite it directly. Of course, and also the different information, the different packages that I need to use. Okay. Then here I get the groq API key, okay, and also yeah, this is just a ChatGPT suggestion to make some. It's called error handling strategy. So later I'm going to go to the most important part. First part is about defining the agents. This version, actually, I define the agents very simply. Okay, you can see like the stock data fetcher just retrieves the latest stock data from APIs like blah blah blah. This was created partially by ChatGPT, and also here is a very short backstory setting and also the goal. You have also other information that you want to set, for example, which model to use, maximum iteration, and so on. And the verbose if you want to see the chat records, right? So for every detailed explanation, you can check the official documentation. It's quite clear. So basically, I have a stock data fetcher, stock analysis, and an analyst, a stock news fetcher, and a stock report publisher. Okay, it seems good. Okay, but later you are going to see it's not working so well. Temperature and the models for each agent you can set it differently. Okay, so let's go to see the next part. It's about defining the task. Okay, the task. Okay, so at this moment, I just think I give each agent an independent task, okay, because their expertise is quite confined in that specific area, okay. So task 1 is for agent 1, task 2 is for agent 2. I think this is a standard way because each agent has definition, but you need to assign a task to it for it to work. Okay, so this kind of setting, of course, you can interact with other large language model to define it because a quick start, some inspirations could be very useful. The only important thing for you to notice is that the structure of the task. Okay, so which kind of information do you want to put inside? Does it work? You need to test to understand it. So later we're going to show you some of the chat records for you to understand. And you see there is also a context part. A context you can see, okay, it has a context of task 1 and task 2. So basically you actually give this task okay, a context. Okay, so just the previous chatting records and to let it understand the job better. Okay, let the agents understand the job better. So like the task 4, you have the context of task 1, task 2, task 3. Okay, so next part we're going to see the main part of the kickoff of the program. So basically, okay, we just input one of the ticker, okay, for it to analyze. So this part is to kickstart the crewai chat. It's quite similar to AutoGen, I would like to say, because you know the agents, you know the task, okay, you have the verbose setting, and you have the different process. For this part, you see, I only see hierarchical and also sequential settings. I'm not sure if there are any other types. And also, I have not yet tested, for example, like in AutoGen, you have the round robin and also casual, different organization of the chat, right? How each agent interact with the others. In here, one part I see how the agents could interact with others. First of all, is by the hierarchical structure. Okay, so one agent as manager. The manager will kick off the conversation table, and you can see for each individual agent you have there is a delegation. Okay, allow delegation true. Okay, so according to ChatGPT, okay, the crewai assistant, it said actually if you set true, it can better interact with others. Let's see if it's true. Okay, so the conversation is very long. I do not repeat to you for every detail part, okay? But you can see from the first view, here are many errors, okay? I just asked ChatGPT to summarize it for me. So you can see the summarization, okay? So the workflow starts from inputting the ticker, okay? Then there is a dedication of the task to stock data fetcher, okay? But there are many errors. So one of the most common error is that it cannot find the agent. So there must be something about the naming of the agent. So I'm going to debug in the next version. So you can see multiple failed attempts to ask the analyst, of course. Final plan, okay. Despite to use hypothetical analyst plan, okay. Okay, it's good. Okay, so actually agents know some of the ways to analyze a stock. As you can see, let's see if we defined here. Okay, yeah, we defined here. Okay, it's not that did not make it up, so it actually follows the instruction that we gave before, but there is no meaningful results. I tell you, in the end, there's nothing. Okay, so also the stock report summary, we can see that yeah, due to tool malfunction. Okay, so what I noticed are two parts here for the first version. First part is that I needed to better define the agents. So when you call somebody, somebody will respond. Okay. The second part is that if the tool calling has malfunction, it means that there must be better with some tool settings. So these are the parts that I'm going to do later. So eventually, let's see the final result. The result, of course, it said required to inform you unable to complete the task. Okay, perfect. This is version 0. Now we are here on version 1. Okay, I'm just going to skip all the parts before. Okay, the settings, initial settings, dependencies, and so on. Yeah. So in this version, I actually tried the detailed tool setting. Okay, with the help of ChatGPT, of course. As you can see, I have the tool like a stock data tool, which can fetch different things. Okay, at the first time, I ask you to get the price data. Then I want the financial metrics. I want the other key data. Okay, like I think I remember correctly the PE ratio and so on. So actually, this class of the basic tool grows larger and larger. Okay, as you can see, the major financial indexes data, it actually linked to balance sheet, cash flow, and stock splits, dividends, very detailed, right? So it's a big class, okay, with a big function inside to define. Okay, what kind of tool I need? I need a data fetching tool. The data fetching tool will fetch all these data. And we also have the analyst tool, right? And DuckDuckGo, I use it as a web search tool. So analyst tool is quite simple, right? Mainly focus on the moving average calculation. Okay, because from a technical trading point of view, it is quite important to understand moving average. For the DuckDuckGo part, I just wanted to check the news and to give me feedback. Okay, if the news is good or not. And we have also the publisher tool. It actually gives a very structured way, right? So you have the data, analytical results, and also the news part, and instantiate the tools to make sure they will work later. Then let's see the agent setting. The agent setting is not very different from the previous version, except like the role part. For the role part, now I do not say, your role is to blah blah blah. But after my test, I think the role is better to be seen as the agent name. So just to avoid any misunderstanding, I just put the name and the roles both as the name of the agents. One suggestion is that uppercase, lowercase, make sure they are the same. Okay, as you can see here, I have the first one totally lowercase, and the second one has initial as uppercase. Pay attention to this. Okay, sometimes when they talk with each other, they cannot find the correct one because it's case sensitive. It's quite interesting. Okay, you can try on the side. I'm not sure if it is an issue of the model, the understanding capability of the model, or the crewai infrastructure. Okay, you can try. Okay, as I said, all these agents, I also have the task. Okay, the task is not quite different from the previous one. Uh, yeah. So another difference I want to mention is that now I add the coding agent. Okay, I want the coding agent to actually perform the coding part. Um, okay, so the main difference, let me summarize again. So basically, now I have the name and the roles both focus on the agent's name. Okay, both of them are agent's name. Then about the fifth agent, the reason I want a Python data coding agent is that sometimes the without control, the agents can hallucinate and provide me with data from 2023. I want 2024. Okay, so I want the coding part to be more precise, and I have these toolbox. Okay, this toolbox is not is not mandatory. Okay, so as you can see here, in the current version you see, I already deleted there is a tool option. Okay, it is very easy. You just add the tool option in the agent. Then agent will call that tool directly. The reason in this version I actually deleted it, I created this coding agent, is that if you want the crews to call the tools directly, sometimes it will go into a loop. It's like whenever the tool cannot give you the result, it will query the tool several times. So eventually I say, okay, so maybe my toolbox is not set very well, right? So let's try a free coding version. Okay, I just have an agent to code freely. Maybe it will work. That was my original idea. The other thing is that during the conversation of the different agents, you are going to see if you change some of the information, like if you make the task more complicated or the agent description more complicated, the total runtime will change drastically. For this version, I'm going to show you, okay, in later parts. So the task part is as this one, okay. So as you can see, there is an additional task about the coding part. Okay. So in the main block, actually here I have additional part to set the agent iteration limit. Okay, and RPM limit. RPM is like also the iteration limit. Okay, you are going to see. If you want to know the details, you can check the documentation. And okay, let's start. So basically, you can see this is a chat record. Okay, there are many information to get, but unfortunately, I also get the 2023 data, which is not what I wanted. Okay, but in general, it did a lot of query, a lot of calculations. Let's see. In general, this workflow. Okay, first of all, fetch the stock data. Okay, success. Analyze data, no problem. Key calculation is about moving average and RSI. Okay. Final insights. Okay, I asked ChatGPT to summarize a very long chat record. Okay. Price below both moving average indicate weakening, short-term bullish trend. Okay. And the RSI suggests a potential buying opportunity. Market cap 2.42 trillion. Okay, it seems that the information is correct. Okay. No, sorry. I mean, you have some of the information analyzed by the crew. But if you go inside, as I said, whenever you see the volume or the data, okay, it actually shows the data that you don't want. Okay, you don't want to know the data 1 year ago. You can see the trend, but for the latest information, I want to know this month or 2 months ago. So the problem is that maybe I did not specify well here. So I'm going to improve in the next version. Okay, so in this version, actually, after refining the agent's name, it works well. Okay. Eventually, I abandoned the way to fix the tool, ask the crew to freely coding the coding the code. It seems to work well. Of course, if you assign each tool to each agent, you can try a different version of the code. Okay, so the agents will call the tool directly, okay, and give you the results. Let's see the runtime. The runtime is around 5 minutes. Not bad, okay. Another important difference between crewai and autogen. I think autogen, for the similar task, it actually performs faster with the interaction with groq API. But if the model is not so good, in autogen, you will not get a result. But in crewai, it seems that the full flow control is better. Okay, it actually gets whatever the hallucination is, or if the model is good or not good. As you see, I also used Mistral and other models. It's not so bad. Okay, at this point. Eventually, you have the summarized report. Okay, for this simplified version. It actually said the date is 2023, February 3rd. Not useful, but this result is not so bad. Okay, so let's see the improved version. Improved version, okay, I'm not going to show you everything. Okay, so let's go directly to the coding parts. To the parts of the change that I made. Okay, so let's see. For the agent setting, you see tool calling, I'm not changing it, I'm not using it. Okay, for the agent setting, you see now I have a backstory which is longer. I ask GPT to make it more robust. Okay, so you give more backstories like job description. Okay, and of course you have the goal like the previous version, of course. Then let's see the task. For the task is much more detailed. So we have the description of the task. We have for example, like this one. Your task is to get the price data for the ticker for the past range period. Okay, from which date? Okay, so I want to be precise. The reason for this is that if I do not precisely tell the agents to look backward, sometimes it could look forward. Example is that if I say, okay, now today is which day? I want to see the performance of the stock, okay, over the past several months. Okay, if I don't say past several months, it might look forward. So the more precise you have in the description, the more contained your response will be. So this is just one of the suggestion, is to make sure the task is specific. The more specific it is, we might get better results. We're going to see later. Okay, so I ask open price, closing price, highest price, and so on. Okay, very detailed. Okay, but one of the problem you are going to see later, I have not yet resolved, is that, for example, here, I really would like the agent 1, okay, when it solves task 1, it will delegate the task directly to the coding agent. However, if you see the actual conversation, if it starts to hallucinate or take some of the information already embedded, I say embedded in the large language model, it will give you some historical data it was trained on. Okay, the model was trained on, and will not call the tool. And eventually, when the crew manager actually calls for the coding agent, it will go to a very interesting loop. So let's continue to finish this part. Okay, task 1, task 2, task 3. You see it's very detailed. Okay, so for the setting, for example, if you have this task, you can, of course, if you're already working in this field, just add the information that you think is very necessary. If you are not working in the field, just check some of the reliable sources to see how the task is constructed. Okay, so you will get better results. So let's see. Okay, so here, like the coding agent has also a more robust description here. I do the calculation and see the data anomaly. Okay, it's very burdensome. Okay, it's not an easy task. So dependency, like I said before, if I meet some problem running the code, I will come back to install some of the dependencies. Okay, so in the main part, there is a calculation of the start date. Okay, it looks good. Actually, it will better confine my prompt. Okay, to let the team knows that what I want. And you can see after choosing different variables and to take the user input. For here, I just don't. The first time I run this code, it took me 1.5 hours, and I did not see a result. So I set the limit for the maximum iteration and RPM to 2. And here we can see I put all the inputs, okay, the different inputs here, and the prompt, okay, inputs are going to be fed into the thing, and you are going to see, okay, now we're starting the analysis of the stock, blah blah blah. Okay, so here we can actually define, okay, what the user actually input. Okay, these variables are going to be used. Okay, so let's first see here. So please enter the ticker. Okay, additional words. I want a comprehensive report. Okay, enter the date. Today is the date. And the information range of my month. Okay, so it starts working. Okay, it will start working. And as immediately you see here, it actually go back to 2022. This is not what I want. But eventually, it goes on talking a lot of things. You see, there is a very interesting loop. You see, whenever it gets some of the information, it will evaluate, not okay, will go back, and so on. So just to save your time, let's go to the summarization. The response is about 5,000 lines. So I summarize it into 3 parts. Okay, I take them to 3 parts to summarize. Because ChatGPT cannot intake such amount of text. So let's see the first part. User input, data verification. Okay, verify the accuracy of the data and so on. Yeah, it's good. Retrieval and formatting. Okay, it works. Okay, especially with the Python data analyst. Let's see the stock movement. Okay, so yeah, looks alright. Okay, looks better than the previous 2 versions. Okay, let's just not think about the runtime for a moment. Okay, so in general, the quality has improved, but also the complexity you can see also increased. Okay, so the other part is about okay, so actually in the second part, the agent starts to realize, okay, now we are talking about 2024, September 8th. Okay, so and also there are some key events identified in the news, and I think at this moment when it talks to the agents, not the first agent, okay, not the data fetcher, but the data analyst and so on. There are some additional tasks assigned to different agents. This is not a coding agent. Let's see. Let's see our coding agent. Okay, our coding agent. Yeah, sorry. Our coding agent is Python data analyst. Okay, name is okay. Yeah, so go back and specify the package to use Y Finance to get the data. Okay, looks good. Then historical average data. Okay, perfect. Summarize the report. So just during the process, you see there are some repetition. It's not that we finish one task and move on. It will go back, okay, one way or another. So the third part, we're going to see there is a goal, the stock data, news summary, and so on. But you see here, the agents are going to utilize the API for Alpha Vantage. We don't have that, okay. So this is something that we would like to avoid in the future test, because if it goes out of the range, it may cause problem. Because some of the APIs you cannot just ask agents to imagine, okay, create one API for you. You need to create it by yourself. And for me personally, at the test stage, I prefer everything free, like Y Finance package and so on. Yeah. So basically, the news summary and the stock matrix, everything looks fine. Okay, yeah. So let's see the final result. Okay, the final result looks not so bad. First of all, it shows stock price data. Well, we can see that this is stock price and stock analysis. Okay, looks quite good. And also, there are some notable movements following for the following news. Okay, looks fine. News summary from August to September. Yeah, you can see this is a sentiment analysis. Okay, in the future, if I get a chance, we're going to explore the sentiment analysis together. Okay, at this part, okay, it does the crew team does the job to analyze all the sentiment. Let's see if it is correct. Let's see this one. Lawsuits, okay, negative, yes. Apple Card Plus, positive. Okay, if you're interested, you can check the validate all the news here. Of course, if you ask crewai to add the source of the data, I think it's possible. Okay, just need to carefully design. About our coding agent, okay, Python analyst, because he also provides some of the outputs. So in the final summary, it actually summarizes all the information from um, different agents. It's like one agent for one part. Okay, it's orchestrated well. So in the future instance, I would like to avoid showing the code in the final report, right? So I would like to say, I just want to see the main part, and eventually give me a buy or sell recommendation, and look forward for some future periods. I also checked if crewai can generate a graph. It is a very difficult task, as I find in AutoGen. In their official documentation, I can see that the agent creates a PNG file, a picture file of the stock or something statistic. But here in crewai, okay, at the first check, it could do the similar things. Can they show it also in the final output report? I'm not sure. So in the future, we are going to explore them together. So just a quick summary of this journey. So crewai is a good tool. I would recommend you to check the official documentation and also check in GitHub like the base the cookbook that I checked for crewai. You can get some inspiration to build your own app. And for each of the detail setting, you need to try. Okay. Like I said before, some of the parameter you can let loose, okay, give some flexibility, but you will have longer conversation. Or you just give it a very specific tool, like to the agent, but be careful if during the conversation it cannot meet the demand of the agent, it could create a problem. Not necessarily saving time, okay? So there are some balance you can try out. Okay, just do more tests. My suggestion is, eventually, as you can see, I have 3 steps. Okay, I have the simplest version. I see some results. Okay, the workflow is working. Then I improve and improve again. Eventually, as you can see, the last version of course looks very well. Okay, compared to the previous versions. But the key problem here is that the runtime. Let me see if I already marked it here. Yeah, the runtime is around 1 hour. So you need to see if this can meet your demands. Can you wait 1 hour for the report? Okay, and if you have a budget for the API, for example, we are using groq freely now, but if you are using ChatGPT, you use OpenAI API. What is your cost budget? You cannot always let it go freestyle, right? It generates a lot of nonsense information, and you pay the cost for the tokens. Okay, so yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Utilize the tools to quick start agent flow. During the iteration from simple to complicated version, do it step by step, do some test, and some threshold, some parameters always change, and to see the results. For the description of the agent, description of the tools, organization of the chat, always check the final results and see how you can better design the app. Okay. If you have any question, any doubt, feel free to let me know. We can explore future possibilities with AI, with agentic workflow together. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.